today I'm with my mate Doug.
Good morning.
And we're going to discuss our recent trip to Thailand and all the ins and outs of that journey. So, hey, we had a great trip.
Yeah, it was fun.
So I've just, to start from beginning, I met Doug, I don't know,
January or February?
yeah, something this year, yeah. And
Here at Ground Zero.
Yeah. So we're at Ground Zero, and I actually saw Doug a couple of times come in, and my mate Doug, he happens to be blind, come in with his cane and his lady, and he was talking to a lot of other people, and initially I didn't meet him straight away. I saw him from afar, and then a month later we happened to be sitting side by side, and we had something to talk about.
So you're saying you saw me from across the room, and it was
You're
friendship
always
at first sight?
No,
All right.
no, not at all,
like
man.
That,
No. You know what it's like. You're new in
bromance
an
is
area.
real.
No, you had your group of friends and
Yeah.
people that knew you, and they'd say hey, and they'd get chairs out and they'd sit you down and you're chatting away, and it just never happened. So anyway, a month later, hey Sammy, welcome. So then we started sitting side by side, and Doug has a background in IT.
Yep.
And I actually have been in IT for 25 odd years, so we have something to chat about, and we just hit it off, and we became pretty, you know how you click with some people, and
For sure.
so we just clicked, and I actually, as we were just discussing earlier, I don't treat Doug like a blind person, but it amazes me how easily he seems to get around, and now having done the first trip with him to Thailand, it was pretty amazing just to see, how he is and how we travelled together, and we agreed that, hey, we're going to do a trip together first and just see how it went, right?
Yep.
So we're going to review that today and have a chat, and hey, so how about you just tell us about your story? How did you prepare, because you're now living in the Philippines.
Right, yep.
So you've been here since when?
Since October 11th,
Wow.
2022, so almost a year now.
Right, so how did you prepare as a man that's now blind? I don't know how blind you were, how long you were blind, fully blind.
I'm legally blind, so
Yeah.
out of 20 blind people in a room, only like one of them is going to be completely blind. So everybody has it's a spectrum, right?
Right.
But I'm pretty low on the spectrum as far as usable vision.
Right.
But I spent 2020 through 2022 in a blindness training center. Attending every day and learning Braille and learning cane travel, and as I did that, I got my confidence, and I was like, I've always wanted to travel abroad. We talked about working in IT.
Yeah.
So I maybe like in 2014, our offshore workers were in India.
Right.
And I was thinking about going on disability back then, and they were like, you could live really well over here.
Right.
And then as it got to that point where I went on, I started looking, and Philippines just ended up being the spot. So I sold my house.
Yeah. Hey, just okay. If there's a problem with our sound, I'm trying a new sound system today, and I'm not sure how effective it is. So
give us a thumbs up.
Give us a thumbs up or something if you can hear us. It's blinking. My sound is blinking away. So it seems like it's okay, but let me know if it's not. Otherwise, we'll be.
I think Sammy would have said something if not.
Yeah. Hope so.
So.
Yeah.
So I decided to come out here, I guess probably about May of 2022.
Right.
Sold my house.
Yeah.
Got rid of all my stuff and came out here alone. I did not have a girlfriend on the way here.
Mm-hmm.
So I traveled around the States a little bit first. I went to a couple places to say goodbye to family before I came over here, and then I came over here. So it's not my first rodeo. It was my first international travel over here was alone.
Right.
But then we went to Hong Kong in February, me and my girlfriend Belle.
Right, so you'd already travelled once, and Belle, being Filipina, had to go through the immigration thing then, I guess. So she had already gone through that this trip when we went to Thailand. So
yeah, this was our second international trip with Belle and I. We traveled domestically as well. She was from a different province, so we've gone back and forth there. But this was our second international trip, and our first with with another couple. So
Right.
it was definitely different. So.
Yeah. Wow. No, it's good. And did Belle have any issues on the first trip through to Hong Kong when you went through with Hong Kong? Did
No,
she have
Belle is very meticulous on details, I think, with stuff like that. And so, and she had been an OFW before, so
right.
They did ask her all the questions, but
Right.
she had all of her ducks in a row. She's like, here's pictures, here's, I've got money in my bank account.
Right.
Why are you going there? My sister's an OFW in Hong Kong. Where are you staying?
Right.
So she was like boom, 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 answered all their questions.
Right.
And and then this time, I'm sure you're gonna get into what happened with Mads, but they did a lot of questions this time, even though we had already traveled together, 4 or 5 months before or something like that.
Yep.
They were like, who is this guy? And I can't answer anything. I have to sit back and she's like, this is my boyfriend.
Right.
And then they want pictures of the last time, what did you do in Hong Kong?
Yeah.
So fortunately she has some pictures of when we went to Hong Kong Disneyland.
Right.
So, it is still that interrogation. It's that gut wrenching. Like, am I going to get turned back? You hear all these guys that aren't able to travel.
Wow.
But that's why we did the travel insurance, right?
Right,
just in case.
right. Yeah, just in case. Yeah, because you just don't know what's going to happen here in the Philippines with our woman.
For sure.
Yeah, interesting. So, anyway, so long story short, this trip we used Doug's tourist provider that he used to go to Hong Kong, and they organised our itinerary for us, our airfares, and we agreed on what was happening. And we basically went for a week, and that week included a day travel each way. And we did four events, 4 different activities through the time, and so we'll talk a bit about that. But hey, so we travelled from Doomingeti, which is straightforward. Doomingeti's easy. If you're living in Doomingeti, it's a half an hour, 3/4 an hour, get to the airport, get checked through, and it's just not an issue, unless the plane's late.
And they got your good sausage buns there, you like?
Yeah, they got the bread buns with the sausages, which is I love those.
That was pretty good.
I don't know why they don't have them in hardly any shops around here. I can't find them in any of the supermarkets. Yeah, I fell in love with those when I was in the Ukraine firstly, and travelling around Ukraine. I fell in love with those, and just in other countries, but just not here. It's just crazy. But they're in the airport, so I don't know. Yeah. Not in Doomingeti. They have bread shops everywhere with sweet bits of chocolate and all sorts of other stuff, all different types of bread, but they do not have my bread with sausage in the middle, like my sausage bun. So yeah, they have those. It was great. Coffee straight through. Flew up to Manila, and then in Manila is where we went through that was pretty straightforward. We got to the main airport. We transitioned to the international one. Checked through immigration, and that's when you can tell your story at this point, or you already have. They let you and Belle. We went through as a group, and thinking that would be easy because our ticket was as a group, and we also had like our lease agreement and photos and history and things like that with Mads, and just thinking that so we were side by side. At 2 different booths, and so you were getting grilled, and then they just automatically spoke in Tagalog, and to the girls, and then me and Mads were ferried off to a side area in immigration, and I sat in the naughty seat while Mads went in and got interrogated for 45 minutes, which seemed an interesting experience sitting there.
We just waited on the other end for you guys to say, hey, let us know what's going on.
I mean, they asked us all the normal questions before we were sent. They asked a lot of questions. I thought, we're going to get straight through. Yeah. We had tickets. They asked where we were going and blah, blah, blah. And was it all booked? And did you have money? All there, but that didn't seem to matter. Anyway, so we went there. And before we got there, I made sure that Mads had return airfare money in her account, which is always a prerequisite. Everyone warns you about that, so definitely have that. and waited for 45 minutes for the interview to happen, sitting there. I was beside two other guys. One was extremely aggravated that he was being waylaid, and his girl was snuck away in an office, and he was treated, in his view, disrespectfully. But anyway, he was walking around and ranting a bit, and everyone just ignored him. And another guy sitting quietly, whose girlfriend he had taken out of the country previously, and their last trip had been declined. So he was really nervous. So they were having another go, and they were heading to, I can't remember what country. And anyway, 40 minutes later, well, not long before that, both those girls came out, and they both got through and just disappeared. So I was left by myself. And then Mads came out 45 minutes later and seemed happy enough. Asked for my passport or something, and then disappeared with my passport again. And then came out and said, oh, it was good. And when I asked her what was any other sticking points, they just said, well, the thing that convinced them to let her through was the fact that she knew my kids' names, because we'd been talking online, you know, to my kids and my grandkids, and so she knew just natural, obviously, names and people and situations. So they asked her those questions, and that helped get her through. So that was that. 45 minutes later, we were through immigration. But we had, initially when we got the trip organised, the travel agent had only booked us 2 hours, and I said, no, it's Mads' first time. I want the extension. So we actually allowed ourselves 6 hours, right? So by the time we got through, you know, we had plenty of time, so off to the private lounge.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm part of I have a private lounge arrangement, so we all went in there, and I always take a change of clothes, and so I could have a shower, eat food, and we had a few drinks.
a few heavily poured drinks, thanks to the guy who knew he was going to get a tip.
Yeah, there was a guy there serving us pretty well, but we had food, and yeah, it was good. So we just relaxed there for a few hours, had internet, had a few vodkas, and just waited for our plane to come, and so that was a pretty nice end to that. Relieved the fact that we were actually going to go make it through to the holiday, so that was all done. And then flew to Bangkok. So yeah. And how did you find it?
I mean, the flight was fine.
Yeah.
Bangkok was chaotic when we got there, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, packed.
Super packed, and it was like, it was like 10, 11 at night?
Yeah, it was late, really late.
And it was super
There must
packed
have been
airport.
6 flights arrived that time or something.
Yeah.
There was so many.
And then we got our baggage, and we had a driver arranged, and they had given us a picture of where we were supposed to meet.
Yep.
That didn't do much for me, but, you know,
Yep.
I mean, I had 3 people traveling with me that could identify the picture, and they said that
Yep.
there was going to be somebody standing there holding a sign with my name on it. You know?
Yeah.
So we had to do the, like, let's split up Scooby-Doo moment, and so
They
Belle
gave us
went
this.
one way, Mike went another way.
They gave us this and gave us pictures where to go, and you know where to find it on the gate 4 on the 2nd floor. So we found the gate okay, but and of course we were there with all our bags and stuff like that. So this is probably another half an hour since the plane landed, maybe. So it was getting close to 12 o'clock. We travelled all day, and we were expecting someone there with the sign with our names, and so when you get to Bangkok and if it's organised, don't expect them to actually be there with the sign, because they're not. What they do have is about 20 minutes later, I saw a lady wandering up and down the middle. It looked reasonably official, and asked her, I said, do you know this crowd that we were given the name to? She said, oh, well, we know them. And we said, well, we can't find our name, and they're not here to pick us up. And when you look when you walk to that area, there are hundreds of these square bits of paper with names on them, all sellotaped to the side of the rails, and some of them overlap. So there's no way we wouldn't have found our names. And she went over, found our name underneath something else, under the name of whatever these people were, rang them, and 20 minutes later the guy finally arrived. So that was like after 12 then. So yeah, if you've got somebody organised to pick you up, make sure that just be aware if you're going to Bangkok, talk to somebody where all those labels are.
I think that's an important thing for traveling anywhere, right? It's something I learned in my orientation and mobility just with cane travel for a blind person, but it applies anywhere. Don't be afraid to ask questions, especially as Westerners. We've all got in this little bubble where we don't talk to each other. We think I can just solve everything myself, but I think that's the thing I've learned the most from travel is that we're all traveling together and we're all citizens of the world. So if you ask people, and it's just like you're gonna run into jerks anywhere, but for the most part, people are gonna be friendly and they're gonna want to help you find what you need, right? And if that person doesn't, then the next person will. But don't spin your wheels for a long time when there's people around you could ask questions, And it's like that anyway. It's like that in Dumaguete. If you're living here, if you're just at the mall, don't be afraid to ask questions. Everybody is. For some weird reason in Western society. But I ask a lot of questions, drives my girlfriend nuts, but I get where I need to go, and I can do it with a blindfold on if I needed to. But it helped, you asked that lady, and she helped us. I think that's a key for anybody traveling, especially if you're new to traveling, so.
I mean, you've got to learn to fly by the seat of your pants. The thing I like about you is you don't get flustered. You just stood patiently, and you do ask. What choice do you have? You have to ask questions. So you either say "Bell" or "So what's happening? Tell me this," and you're very specific. So it makes us think about things. So we're used to by the bags. We went left and right to try to find these people, and in the end we got there. But it was just an interesting experience because in the picture it had somebody standing there holding our names, and they'll be there to pick you up. So we were just thought it was sorted. We'd be taken to the van and taken to our hotel. So anyway, that's that part. So off we went. We got into the van, rushed us across town in Bangkok, and we went to Ibis Styles Hotel. And the thing about Bangkok is there's more than one Ibis Styles.
There's more than one Ibis.
Donzo.
There's more than one Ibis hotel.
And even in Ibis Styles there was two.
Really?
Yeah, because one night when Mads and I went out, we asked them to take us to Ibis Styles, thinking it was the only one, and we were taken to a totally different one, and the guy wasn't happy. Like, he was not happy when we told him.
That's the guy that made you.
We had a whole event on our day off. We went to this place, and we got caught out. So and so even if you have a maps and you show the taxi driver, they don't always get it. They might have a thing in their mind where they just take you to something else. So that's what happened to us. Anyway, that's just travel. That's just what happens. So anyway, we went to Ibis Style and downtown, and that was pretty nice. What do you think of the hotel?
I thought it was a nice hotel. Yeah, our room was nice. The bed was nice. The shower was very nice. The water pressure, the temperature. I think I was taking I would normally take 2 showers a day here anyway, but I was taking 3 showers. Like every time I went back to the room, bro, I'm like, I'm gonna hit that shower because I do not have that kind of water pressure and temperature.
Yeah, we don't quite have the same level of
nice,
of comfort back in Dumaguete.
The air conditioning was good in the room. From what I understand, the view was good. We were on the 22nd floor. You were on the 10th, I think. So that was cool.
Hey, just for those of you who have joined, we have some little sound things that have failed on us, so we're using just the phone. So that if the sounds, you're hearing everything, we're in a cafe, and unfortunately it is what it is. And I have Doug going to a different city next week, so this is my last chance to actually do a live with Doug before he goes for a month. So sorry about that. That's just how it is. Okay, so the sound's okay. Oh, thanks, Donzo. Okay, cool. So we got there. I found that one of the things they said that. Thanks, Sammy.
What did Sammy say?
She's saying I don't know how to be a moderator in a live.
We'll figure it out, Sammy. We'll get you on board next time.
Yeah, man. Hey, you knew I was doing this live. Why haven't you showed me already? Anyway.
Yeah.
So. I found that they said it was like a queen bed, but actually it wasn't. It was a super king, like it was like super king. It was really wide, really comfortable. We found the bed really good, and the bathrooms are great. Just being in an Asian country, oi, useless. Don, you behave yourself, Kiwi.
Oh,
It's Don.
Don.
You should have guessed. Troublemaker. Right. Anyway. So anyway, yeah, the room was great, and then that was a good night. We got up. How did you find breakfast?
It was okay. It was a pretty standard breakfast buffet. The best part was probably the omelet bar. It was okay. Yeah. I mean, the hotel is definitely 4-star. I thought the buffet was okay. I wouldn't send anybody there for the buffet, but I'm not a big buffet fan anyway. So you liked it, right?
Yeah. I mean, for me, I'm not a big eater anyway, but it had what I wanted. It had some good hot food. It had the eggs and sausages or bacon or a range of good fruits. It had cereal. So if I have a selection, I'll choose one or both of those. The best thing I found was the omelette. They did a really good omelette there, so that was good. But it was up on what, the 20th floor or the 17th floor?
It was the 7th. It was the 7th.
We went down, didn't we? Yeah, the 7th floor. It was a great view overlooking the city. So, yeah, Ibis style in terms of its class. It's very clean, well organised, good staff.
Well, accessibility-wise as well for any blind travelers. They do have Braille on the elevators, and it's English Braille. So
that's a good thing.
UEB, and then as far as and all the numbers, if you don't know Braille, I think they were all tactile. I remember doing 22; it was tactile. The only thing that I had a little bit of trouble with is that you had to coordinate swiping your card and pressing the button.
Right. Yeah.
So trying to do that and then read it at the same time.
Right.
You had to switch. So you had to use both hands to do it. Independently. But it also called out each floor except for the bottom floor in clear English, not super fast. The one I had in Hong Kong would say the hotel room number or not the hotel floor number very fast. Yeah. And then
and on the trains they do English as well, but it's also very fast.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. They say next station, blah blah blah.
Yep.
Next station. Da, da, da. Yeah. I remember
all the room numbers didn't have Braille, but they did have recessed numbering, so you could trace it with your finger. Right. So, as far as being able to get to your room and do things you needed to do as a blind person, very well set up for. I've definitely seen worse as far as accessibility.
Cool. Perfect. All right. So that was Ibis. So we're happy with that as a hotel. We thought it was good value for money, not too expensive, middle of the road. I found the food okay. The rooms are great, and the location was good. The only thing is, the only issue you have to be aware of when you travel to Bangkok is most of the drivers won't speak English, and so have your Google Maps up and try to show them where you need to go if you get into a taxi, which you will do, or a trike.
I will say this, if I may, Mike, may I interject? One of the things I would say is they don't speak English.
No.
But genuine kindness, it shows through in everybody there. And then whereas here, if somebody struggles with English, or in Hong Kong, they don't have the Google Translate up. Like all the guys that we had canned responses in their Google Translate. I'm going to take you here. Eat some yummy food, blah blah blah. They had it, so they were, even though they couldn't speak English, they still communicated better than I get sometimes here, right? Where people are supposed to speak English better. So communication went pretty well with most of our drivers. Maybe not that first guy in the van, but after that.
No, the first go was interesting. Okay, so that's that. So anyway, our next day was a bit of a free day. So we got up, had breakfast, and we went on a bit of a walk around just to suss out our neighbourhood, which was interesting.
And surprise, Doug and Mike find an Irish pub.
We sort of went one way, and then first time walking with Doug in a foreign city, and the footpaths was a bit open, not as bad as Doomingiddy, but Doomingiddy has great footpaths in lots of places, but then it's not so good in others. But there you've got a lot more people, and you've got food places on the side, but it's just got arrows and things on the footpath that help you follow. So I'm trying to be noisy so Doug can follow me, because for the first time I'm traveling with Doug, so in my mind he's just saying just be noisy or just talk and I'll follow you that way, and he has a stick out front of him, so I'm having to learn how to walk with you. So yeah, interesting.
Well, and if you walk too slow, I'll run you over.
Yeah,
so,
this guy, it's like you got to run. He moves so fast with that cane, like it's just incredible. And follow him up. You get behind him. Like we went to the train station. He was at the top and I was halfway. Like this guy really motors. Like he's blind and he can get upstairs. So anyway, there's some good learnings there. Anyway, and when we got back, and then about half an hour later we found we found a suit shop, which we had some fun with checking out suits, and I think I got that on video, trying out suits and stuff like that. It was fun. And we're talking about our trip to Thailand.
Who's that?
Sammy's asking the negative and positive about Doomageti.
Oh.
That's
another live stream.
That's a whole nother thing, man. Yeah. I mean, we live here. We love Doomageti, right? We live here, and there's lots of accessibility. We love it because it is accessible to lots of places. Yeah. But that's a different live stream. We're just trying to get through this 7 days.
Right.
Yeah, man. So we're on day 2, Sammy. Right. So that's all good. So, and then we found the Irish pub, which was just a typical Irish pub. You walk in, you smell the same smells. It's all green and gold and similar menus, except obviously they have a bit of rice, which we find in Philippines. They're having rice in McDonald's and they have menus with rice, which in New Zealand you'd never get. And so we went in there and they had a steak and kidney pie to die for. So I fell in love with their steak and kidney pie. So here me in Thailand having my second meal, and I'm having an Irish pub meal. Yeah. And we tried a beer, right? They had a nice local draft beer.
Like some sort of Irish. It was like made by Guinness, but it was some sort of cream beer.
Yeah.
It was good.
It was nice. Yeah. So we had a beer. I basically had a mashed potato, peas and pie. What did you have? Do you remember?
I might have tried their burger.
The burger? You did the burger?
I think I had the cottage pie later in the week or something, but I had their burger, I think, that day.
Yeah, and I think the girls would have had whatever, I can't remember what the girls had, but anyway, it wasn't exactly Filipino fare, but a bit of a laugh. Anyway, we enjoyed ourselves there, just get to know the place, had a chat, air conditioned, cool, because that was the other thing that hits you is it's really hot there, that's time of year, so... I was glad to be there.
A lot like Dumaguete in the summer, so high humidity and in the low 90s. So,
so
then later that night we went over to that area where a lot of the expats were. We had that outdoor food, like big courtyard with apartment buildings all around it, but a lot of food stands.
A food court, basically a food court, an outdoor food court that had about 20 or 30 different restaurants, and we found a true Mexican place. A guy actually from Mexico, so we got to talk to him. And Doug's big on his Mexican, so he got the good chat with him to find out what was going on there. And then we found another pub that was playing music, so of course we sat beside that. And just enjoyed the evening.
You got the girls a couple of drinks. That was fun.
That was fun. Yeah, they. I think you got Bella. Was it a Russian?
A white Russian.
A white Russian. Yeah. Mads had a mojito, and they both enjoyed that. Started slowly, but wound into the evening, so that was funny.
They're both super lightweight, so it was fun.
Yeah, it was funny. So it was a good first day, really, right? So I think we wandered home, got home about 10ish. That was day 2 done. And then we got up the next day, and we're into our first major travel day. I think we had breakfast at 6, so we're there at 6 or 6:30 for breakfast. And we got picked up at the airport. And what was our first day? What was our first trip?
We went to, I can't remember what it was called, something railway. What was it called?
The Mekong Railway. Yep. So I did a video on that. So it was just a normal train, but it was actually...
it was a train tracks that everybody's walking on, surrounded by really expensive souvenir shops. But
it was a very touristy place, so it was packed. Everybody that was tourists took people there because it was famous, and a lot of people got on further up the track to ride the train through the Mekong market. I don't know why they would, but it was chocker. And then there was a lot of people in the market just doing the normal souvenir stuff. And I do what I do. I found the best coffee shop that had air conditioning.
That's his superpower, by the way. Mike's superpower is he can find a cafe anywhere. Like, I want to take this guy to the Amazon. I bet you could find one in the middle of the Amazon or the Congo or something, but it's definitely a superpower. He finds air-conditioned cafes anywhere. So.
Yeah, so you were hanging out with Belle and seemed to be mellow and enjoying the scene. Marge went off down with our camera doing some video work down with the markets. Mm-hmm. And what was amazing was they would just, like there was a guy with a whistle, and then within 3 minutes everybody had pulled they like had 5 minutes notice, so all their shop fronts came up, all their goods went into the front, and then the train arrived and it did a slow ride through, and then everybody
and it was a big train. It's not like a light rail.
Yeah.
It is a big, tall train. It's well over like 12 feet high, man.
Yeah,
it was a very tall train.
Yeah. So that was an experience. I think first time to been there, done that. It was like that for me. But what I liked about it was the coffee shop was great. The prices were reasonable, not expensive, not tourist prices, and I had my.
Your second milk tea, because you had one the first day.
Yeah, Doug the day before had got me into this thing called a milk tea. Now, I always buy coffee wherever I go, or water. But yeah, I got into milk teas in Thailand, and orange milk tea. It's ice milk tea, and it was really nice. So yeah, we sat in there and had a milk tea afterwards and chewed the fat, cooled down, and that was half of day 3 done.
Yep.
And then we wandered back, got a ride not far away, 10-15 minutes away, and we went to the floating markets.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was really, I've never been to
experience.
Yeah, so I just thought, you tell me what you thought about the floating markets. Yeah.
It was cool. I mean, I'd seen boats like that, like in old movies, like about Vietnam War or something, like those old, like
rickety old houses on stilts,
and you got the river boat with the like square top over it. So we had to climb into that little thing, and I'm doing that all blind. I'm a big guy in a little boat, and, but we got everybody in there, and
and that had a big motor, man. That thing honked.
Yeah.
He really wound it up for us. He said, "You want to go fast? Yeah, go fast."
And then we got a beer first, so beer vendor pulled up to the side of the boat. We bought a beer.
We bought a beer. Obviously, a mate of his that was all teed up, so the boys had a beer. Yeah, on the way.
The first stop was a guy trying to sell us a Burmese python, right? Yeah. First guy was trying to sell us snakes. So Belle's screaming. I think Maz is screaming.
They don't having nothing to do with live animals.
Me, I'm asking, is that a real snake?
Screw me, live animals. Do you want to try?
I can see it.
Put
like
this around your neck
arm.
and
it was an interesting experience.
Yeah. They just scream. Their only reaction is panic.
Belle's response usually is, "Don't me, huh? Don't me, babe." So, I was like, "Do you want me to buy you one?" She said, "Don't me." Okay.
Mars just squeals.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's fun.
Yeah.
And then obviously we went through a bit of a residential area, so it took us on a bit of a tour till we got into the actual market itself. And it was fun. We had people pulling up in little old ladies in boats selling us fruit and various bits and pieces. And then we just went left and right and stopped at various stalls.
It's basically little docks with a little warehouse or whatever. They're selling stuff on their little docks.
Yeah. There was a restaurant there that we obviously didn't stop at. We weren't interested, and then another whole lot of.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, no, the restaurant we went clean past it, but we didn't stop. It was actually quite a big area.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But I don't remember him asking if we wanted to stop there, maybe because we had got there in the second half of the day and had lunch. So by the time we started this thing, it was like 2 in the afternoon. So maybe he was thinking, I've only got 2 hours, and if I stop there, it might be But they actually had a restaurant there that we weren't aware of until we went past it. And just lots of people hanging out, mostly women selling at these stalls, and they all sort of promoted sort of similar. I bought my Thai shirt there at one, and overinflated, but it's a good quality Thailand shirt.
I negotiated like a mofo every stop.
Yeah. Doug
There's
was our
nothing that I
negotiator.
got was the initial price. Everything was under 50% of the initial price.
Our goal was to try to get to a third of the price, but they were really funny, how they would say, "Oh no,
you're killing me.
You're killing me.
Basically, like, I'm not gonna make any money today. But I'll give it to you anyway. Yeah, right.
And they're pleading. Oh, 2 for this, or 3 for that. This whole thing.
Even I could see that. They would get close to me.
They come right up.
No.
They try to look you in the eye or touch your hand or something. They're trying to do this. So they were professional, but it was good. It was good fun. Yep. I think the girls, everyone got something on the way around there, and then it was probably hour and a half, maybe.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it was cool.
So we got back, and the guy motored us back really fast. The funniest thing was the very last market. We just bought up most of our stuff, and then the very last market stall was the driver's mother. And of course, we she was trying to sell.
Oh, it was some.
She had a range of adult entertainment.
Yeah, phallic, very phallic statues, or
and a bunch of other stuff. But she wasn't happy with the fact that we'd spent all that money before we got to her. So he wasn't in a good box. That was a bit funny. He said, "Oh, this is my mother." So I think he wanted us to all look at something hard, but we weren't interested. Then we went back. We got back to the docks, and just there was an advertisement for elephant rides, which we hadn't actually planned because Doug and I had both done elephant rides, and we figured out whatever.
We knew we'd look for it, but it wasn't on the main itinerary. So
so anyway, 10 minutes away again, jumped in our ride, and the guy took us to this elephant place, and the girls jumped on the elephant and got the ride. I think it was about 1,500 baht for the 2 of them, so it wasn't too expensive. And then they went off on their first elephant ride, and we were hanging around, and then just as they were leaving, it bucketed down, it just rained, bush.
It was pissing. Yeah, it was a lot.
So they were getting wet. And then
Filipinos all think they're going to melt in the rain. I don't know what that's about, but I don't know how you born and live on tropical islands, which are afraid of the rain. But yeah, they were screaming. So, and then we fed the elephants. You found
I saw a lady standing there with all these baskets, and then a guy just shows up with this big elephant, riding the elephant right up in the trunk. He put his trunk out, and
he put his trunk right in my face.
Yeah, so we were just standing there. So I said, "Doug, do you want to feed the elephant?" And we did. So for 100 baht, you got a basket full of bananas, and we got to feed the elephant. So I'd never done that. So
that was quite fun. Super cool. That was definitely a highlight for me.
Yeah,
I love animals, and being able to feed an elephant, and he got right in my visual range with his trunk. And he was just waiting for it, and to see the dexterity he had to take that.
It was amazing.
Remember, he dropped the one, or there was a mishandle between me and him, and you said he got the banana in his snout and just threw it back behind his legs. He's like, "I'm not eating that. I don't eat ground bananas."
No, he had attitude. He'd obviously, it was cool, man. But he could actually, and you could distinguish. So he was putting right up to your face, and he was, and you try to feed him one, and you just watch it. He's it's amazing seeing how.
You would give him one, and he would just boom, and then his trunk would be back. I mean, it was fast. Like he would just throw it in his mouth and then be back up. Yeah,
it was fun. So we did that probably for about 15 minutes. That was all good, waiting for the girls. And then they came back and all happy and excited, and the rain had stopped by then. Got out. It stopped at that point, got out, and then they got off and came around, and then they fed the elephant for a while, and Mads did the same thing, screamed initially when I reached out to touch her, and Belle was pretty good. But anyway, they fed the elephants for a little while, so that was cool. And then it rained again, bucketed rain. So by now it's probably 4 o'clock, 4:30.
Yeah. And then we spent the next, 2.5, 3 hours in traffic?
In the traffic. So this is where this is the thing, we were a long way out. We probably travelled 2 hours initially to get out of town to do the trips, usually each day, 1.5 hours to 2 hours. And if you finish, and they love you, the drivers all love you to finish by 3 and hopefully beat the traffic a bit. But if you don't finish till 5, then you're in just...
That was at least as bad, if not
Yeah.
worse than the worst Manila traffic I've
Yeah,
been in. It was bad.
worse than Manila.
Yeah.
And it literally crawled multiple lanes. So we were 2 hours. So if you hadn't got your water or you needed the bathroom, it was just one of those trips. Getting back, crawling all the way back to our hotel, and so that was day 3, but our first adventure. So that was cool. And then what did we do that night? Did we go back to the Irish that night?
I don't remember what we did.
No, we did the Taco Bell.
Is that when we
went across the Taco Bell?
Okay.
Yeah. So Doug discovered Taco Bell. So you talk about Taco Bell,
Some
but I don't
guy
understand.
from Cebu mentioned, an American from New York had mentioned that they had Taco Bell there.
Yeah.
I hadn't had Taco Bell since I left the States, and I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna go check it out. And Taco Bell is not Mexican food, but it's a yummy fast food place in the States. And,
Yeah.
And we went in there, and it was just weird. Like, there's no beans on the menu. And, I've gotten used to the Philippines. Things are different.
So
here.
there's rice.
Yeah, there's rice and chicken at McDonald's and stuff that you don't normally have.
Yeah.
But this was weird. They had noodles inside of burritos at Taco Bell.
Right.
I was like, that's super weird. And then, of course, like the limited soda selection that they have, like in the Philippines, but they have some of the stuff with beef in it. They have, like a Crunchwrap Supreme, stuff like that.
Right. So what's your favorite Taco Bell? Normally you would ask what
At
Supreme
home?
was it? Yeah.
Like the
Supreme or something. Was it
I like
something
I like what's it called? I can't think of what it's called. The Gordito, I can't think of what it's called, man. I don't eat Taco Bell anymore. I've been here for a year. I don't know, man. It's a Gordito with the taco inside of it.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's called.
I just
Crispy Gordita Crunch, I think, something like that. And like bean burritos, of course. But
Yeah.
they didn't have anything like that.
Yeah.
So
I just looked for the mints, and they just had
they didn't have any fish and chips. I'm sure you were disappointed.
Yeah, they didn't have fish and chips. I like fish. Yeah, someone else can eat the chips, but I'll always eat the fish. But they had, so I like taco. We used to make mince dishes and stuff in New Zealand. Always had tacos before. So I like
it was
mince.
Still Taco Bell. It still had good
yeah,
flavor.
so it
It
still
just
had the
had weird
basic
stuff.
Yeah, it had its hot sauce and various flavors of.
The hot sauce packets are at least 2 times the size of hot sauce packets in the United States, which was weird.
Yeah.
So we ate that, and then we went. And
So
then
they have
day
Taco
off the
Bell.
next
So
day.
that's for the American listeners. They have Taco Bell there. It's just not the same as your American Taco Bell, but it's there and it's not expensive. So if you're using Taco Bell, and a lot of people in there, it's a cheap little place that we're able to get dinner and then sit and eat, and then go and probably have a drink or whatever we did. I can't remember. I think we just took it back home. I can't remember what we did.
Yeah, we just took it back.
Yeah, I think so. So that was good. That was about 8 minutes walk to our hotel. So that was pretty close. And again, around the corner from the food court we had the night before. So that was pretty cool. Okay, so we get to day 4. We get up early, and today, what did we do today?
That was the free day. You and Maz did something. Me and Belle just kind of chilled at the room.
Was that before?
That was the free day.
Ah, okay,
yeah,
right.
absolutely.
Ah, okay, yeah.
That's when you went to the mall. Or
See you,
whatever.
Donzo. See you too, you old fart. See you soon. So we had a good trip. So we did the temple tour, which is
That's the next day. Yeah,
that was the next
we
day,
had the
right?
day off.
Yeah,
then day 5.
Yeah.
We went and did the historical park. It's the old.
Right, yeah. Okay, so the free day we did. That's right. Free day we went. Mads and I decided to try the train system because the train system had good reviews and just try it out. Why not? So we literally you cross the road and literally beside the food court place, wasn't far away. We got on there and it was pretty easy to follow the track all the way into central Bangkok, and then you got out of one train into another and it took you back the other direction, and we got into the biggest mall, KBC Mall in Bangkok, and that was just like 7 floors of amazing air-conditioned things that I like. all the American restaurants are there, plus every other Asian restaurants are there, plus huge supermarkets and just deals. So we got bits and pieces. I bought a bunch of stuff I needed there, which is good. But it was just doing the train thing, and what took us 2.5 hours in a taxi for the distance. It would have easily been at least an hour plus in a taxi to get where we went. But in the train it was 20 minutes done. So that was the difference. Yeah, so that was pretty cool. And then on the way back, Marge had been talking about this amazing restaurant where the guys dress up in ladies' lingerie and they're famous, and I knew nothing about it. I actually thought it was Walking Street. I thought it was down in the adult section of town, and until she showed me where it was, and it was sitting in an open market. So it was just again a bunch of stalls and a big car park on some part of town in Bangkok. But the biggest crowd was around the seafood restaurant where these guys were dancing, and they'd get up and they'd play the music and they would dance in their lingerie, and then they'd go up and they'd embarrass all the guests in between waiting on them, and then getting photos of gyrating and dancing and doing this, really well built guys, and getting quite physical with the guests. So it was funny. Obviously they were famous because literally there was 200 plus people in a crowd waiting to get in, and the restaurant was full. And then every time the guy came up to pick people or to call names and numbers, they'd all rush to get photos and videos with him, and they were very gracious. They'd do this afterwards and very polite, and then they'd go off. So it was really funny, and that was just hilarious. That was probably the funniest thing I've ever seen. And then every 15 or 20 minutes during the night, the music would go bang bang, and these guys would descend on a group of people at a table, and they'd do this almost erotic dancing in their lingerie around them, and everyone was getting photos and videos and raving about it, and just loving the whole deal. So they were famous for it. People went there to experience it, and they did. I guess like when you go to other countries and you do other things in other famous restaurants, like the Faulty Towers one where they do horror things to you and jokes on you and stuff. It's no different, but this was the Asian version of that. It was a lot of fun. Everyone was having a good time, and then we went off back down the market and actually had a drink and something to eat further down, and then had a good night. So that was the end of that day. Great experience, good day, relaxing, and we needed it because what was coming the next day was a whole day of temple tour, which was a whole interesting thing. So what happened here was we assumed that we would be picked up like previously, but what you guys found out while we were out doing our thing was actually no, we had to get to a pickup point, which coincidentally was exactly where we were the day before at this outside this big mall. So that was good. So we basically had to have a quick breakfast 6 a.m, and then you can talk about the train thing, Dougie.
Yeah. So then we went and we walked. Well, no, we actually took a cab, right? We took a cab to the train station.
Yeah. To the train station
and
to
then,
pick up,
which was just a couple minutes away.
Yeah.
A little short cab ride, and then we got out, went up into the train station, and immediately, like the staff wanted to help me, and they're all well trained as far as how to be sighted guide. They didn't try to grab my cane. They didn't, do all of the things that people think you do when they're not trained.
Yeah.
They think you're being helpful, and it's not that it's wrong. It's just not how you do sighted guide.
Right.
And so they would offer me their elbow, and I mean, just really gracious, really helpful. Took us to elevator if we needed to go to elevator or whatever. I'm fine with stairs, but they didn't know that. Yeah. And then got on our train. All these guys were really worried. I'm like, guys, I've gotten on trains in Phoenix and in Atlanta, everywhere. Like I've got on a lot of trains, Chicago. So I'm good with taking a train. These guys were all super panicky, but after I got on the first one, they were good. So we did the train, got there early. Our guy was still eating breakfast, and then
and he laughed because they made us get there half an hour early because he knew people would be late. But for me, the train was again. The guards would go out of their way to I was watching them. They'd go in front of you and make room for anyone, and they'd shuffle people away. And they were very good. Even from the ladies in the ticketing office, they'd say something, the guards came running and helped you out.
Yeah, even if we went without them, because I wasn't waiting for assistance. I didn't need to, you know. Especially if I'm with a group, I can just follow people or whatever.
Yeah, so from a blind or a needy person's perspective, they were very helpful. The Thai people are very good, and even in the malls, when they see you, they would, they give you plenty of room and which is really good to see, as opposed to the airport experience we'll tell you about later. But that was really good, very respectful, which I was happy with. That was a fun start to the day. We got there, we got into a van, and then we travelled again, probably
an hour and a half.
Yeah, and
north to the former capital of
the palace
Siam
of Siam. Yeah, the palace there, the
up
King's
until
Palace.
the 1730s, and that's when the Burmese army burned it down, right?
Yeah, they came and destroyed all the temples.
Don't ask me how to say the name or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah. So we start with this amazing, incredible palace grounds.
Oh my God, it was amazing. Yeah.
And it has an atmosphere. It just has something about it. It's a significant site. It's a historical site, and it has an atmosphere. And I've been in the mosque, I've been in the temple in Jerusalem, I've been in various, the Taj Mahal, and these places have something about them. When you go, there's a feeling of significance in the place when you're there. And so that's just like that, but it's totally different. It's like an amazing, relaxed.
It was serene,
and peaceful,
very,
incredibly beautiful,
opulent at the same time. Like it just, like they had was it a river or a waterway?
Yeah, they had a river flowing through it with little rivers with an amazing statue tree.
Oh my gosh. I think they had a lake at some spot.
Yeah, they have lakes.
By a lake.
Yeah, they have lakes. And dotted through the whole palace is, I guess, a picture of time during the whole, kingdom's life, where different other countries had actually put, like the Chinese and other people had built palaces and built things beside to add to it.
What he said was the former king was a very. What was the word he used? International.
Well,
so what he would do was he would have architects come in from different cultures and build. So the bridge we were talking about, that was like Roman
with amazing statues.
Statues.
And I did a video on that. That was amazing.
And then you had another area that seemed kind of like those central plazas in Europe, and then you had like a French style columns building, and just really cool. There was that red palace, that was cool.
Yeah, that's the Chinese one. It's all red and amazing.
Man, just everything was super.
And then you had the lake further around, where at the end by the palace, which everyone got photos. We got photos there.
Yeah.
Very serene, very beautiful. And they still have the guards there, so. We were lucky. We saw the changing of the guards, so I got that, which was really cool. And so, if you've seen the changing of the guards in London, it's similar but different. Obviously, it's the Thailand version, but it's
and those are still
cool.
Active military guys.
They're real military guys.
And I could hear them all marching in step, and they went right past us on the walkway. So you really are in it. You're not behind a stanchion far away from them. And then throughout the palace, they did have the little temples, the Wats, right?
There was something to see and experience all the way along. Great, very panoramic, good for photography, amazing. Just there's different things you could appreciate about each part of it. But it was beautiful grounds, amazingly manicured. Everything was perfect. And they're still restoring, obviously, the original palace that was destroyed. It's still there. And then they have the new one, the newer version with some statuary and stuff in that, which they don't allow you through, unfortunately, which is probably the only disappointing thing. I thought would have been nice to go in and actually see part of it, even if it's roped off, but they didn't allow that. So that's all cool.
So there were 6 different sites, right?
Yep.
We did 3 before lunch and 3 after.
Yep.
The rest were mainly they were mainly temples and stuff.
Yes.
One was that Buddha head in the tree.
Yep.
Did that look cool? I couldn't get close enough to really see that.
No, that was like at the end of the tour. So once we left the palace, we did various temples, and they were all very. And just to let you know, this was an incredibly hot day. I'd started suffering. I was also suffering from another issue which we haven't discussed yet, which is
tap water Mike.
Tap water Mike, which they warn you not to do, right? But tap water Mike decided that it was okay to have boiled water, using normal water and boiling the jug. And I've done this in countries and not had anywhere near the issue that I had in Thailand when I did the same thing. Because we were eating similar places and it wasn't the food. And by this day, I was severely suffering, needing interventions. Often trying to stop wherever I could.
Thank God I pack wipes in my bag.
Oh my God. Oh my God, I was suffering. And it was so hot. And so all the temples were amazing. You'd go up and they were just, like there's a story around each one. And the first one that we visited was actually a living temple where they had a little golden Buddha and they still worship there. And they had like 400 monks. I think it was 400, or there was a whole village of monks living there. It was obviously an operating monastery. And they're doing their thing. And again, it was just really cool, but extremely hot. And that wasn't destroyed. That was a functioning, really good one.
Is that the one where you climb to the top?
You climb to the top.
Yeah.
And that was like an oven. Even though it was bricks, you put your hand on. You couldn't put your hand on the brick. On either side of the stairs. It was that hot. And as you walked up, it was a little room, and it had lots of little Buddhas, and it had the wishing well, and everyone was in there. And that was even hotter once you got up there and that. So by the time I got down out of that, I was drinking lots of water.
That was the second stop, and you were already wiped, man.
Yeah, man. And I was suffering as well. So, and then into the Buddha, did the prayer thing, and looked around, and it was fun. And again, it was packed. It was probably at least 500-600 people around that hole at that time. It was busy the whole time with different groups coming and going, which was really good. And then we got to the second one, and then that was just destroyed ruins, totally destroyed. And again, we did the whole walk around that. But each one, you're probably out of the van 25-30 minutes walking.
At least, yeah.
No shade.
It's all stone.
All old stone, just walking. I had my hat and my glasses, but I tell you, I was suffering. And that was cool. And then we got to had lunch, and then we went to the Golden Buddha.
Yeah.
The big one, and that's when
That's when you almost passed out.
Oh yeah, man, I was getting dizzy and stuff like that. Needed to go to the
you had to take
men's.
a rest, yep.
Held up the group, which is funny, and then they all went off, came back and went into the Golden Buddha, and that was just an amazing thing.
Which I couldn't see that as well because it was inside.
Yeah.
And I didn't think it compared to the giant Buddha in Hong Kong when I went there. It wasn't the same experience, but I also didn't climb up 13 stories, 278 steps I did on that one. But because I was able to get right up on that one and touch it, for me, it was more meaningful than in Hong Kong. But the relaxing Buddha or reclining Buddha, that one was cool. That was a big Buddha statue. That was later on. But
that was really nice. Huge. I don't know, it must have been 60 feet?
Oh, it was
70
feet.
It was long. Yeah, so that was cool. Another park. And again, everybody was very quiet and just enjoying it. It was serene.
And there are areas where you have to take off your shoes. And go. Now, tell them about the flower thing. Do you remember they were dedicating the flowers? You had to buy the flowers or whatever?
Oh, that was so funny. Like, the guys that sold you the flowers, they were as you went in.
I didn't see this. This is Mike's eyewitness.
I was just telling him, there's people selling these special tulipy flowers that people then offer in the temple worship, and they'd go and they'd put up and they'd lay down around it as part of their thing, right? So it cost them how many baht for the flower? I can't remember, it was 30 baht or 40 baht or something. Anyway, and then they did their thing. And then the guy that sold us all that, and he had bunches of bunches, there was lots of people coming. He was, when I was up in the temple, I don't know, was it 15, 20? We'd done the walk, come back to that. It was like 20. He was in going, and when people left and were going in, he was going out collecting them all and walking around. Right around, he came in the side, grabbed them all, went right around the back and stuck them back in and resold the same one. It was so funny.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was an observation.
He's trying to. He's trying to shrink his carbon footprint or something.
Yeah,
I don't know what
yeah. It's probably they got to instead of why throw them out, right?
Yeah.
And they're all still fresh, maybe. I don't know.
I know, man. That's like if you sell flowers at a cemetery and you go pick them off the graves after you leave. I thought it was a little weird.
Yeah. But. So and they sell you little candles and other things you can use and little things, but. I don't understand the significance of it all, but anyway, that was cool. That was an interesting observation. And again, on the next one, which was the tree one, you guys went and did that one. I went and found a coffee shop and just relaxed in the aircon and just mellowed. I found the coffee shop, the next one, and just let the group do their thing. And then I said, and then that was pretty well. But that was pretty amazing. That the statue and the tree was cool. No, that was pretty amazing. And that was the and
our tour guide's name was Bell, same as my girlfriend.
Bell,
right?
Yeah, he was cool.
And
same name as
a lot of people when they first meet me. He thinks he needs to be super attentive. So it took a while to get him to realize I'm not going to fall.
Yeah.
You know, but then it was cool because we were getting almost a personalized tour, even though he had 5-6 other people on the tour. Yeah. Because he was always checking on me, and he would always make sure that I heard the history, which I'm a history guy, so
So Bell was very good. That tour, Bell's well done, Bell. Great day. Yep. From my perspective, thanks for your patience. And from Doug's perspective, thanks for being great towards Doug. So no, it was amazing. It was a good day. He was very polite in the van all the way back to the end. So we finished the temple tour. I think on the last one, most of the people were wiped out. I think half the van stayed in the van and half were able to still survive it. Went out. It was just an extremely hot day. We just got they bought bottles of water for us, and we're all sucking down water, and made the end of the day. So I think it was like a 5 temple or 6 temple tour. It was just too much on a hot day. 4 would have been fine. And I guess it's like when you see old churches through Europe. Once you've seen 2 or 3 magnificent churches, you felt like you've seen them all. Like they are different, they have different stories, but they're all very similar. And so, that's what I found when I did churches years ago.
I kind of think they all look the same.
Didn't look the same, but it was a similar experience. Yeah, you look the same. Yeah, right.
You look the same to me, buddy.
Anyway, so in summing up, like for me, that was a significant day. It was definitely worth the money. It was good to see. And these are World Heritage Parks as well, and the highlight for me was the King's Palace and that whole grounds thing. That was definitely worth seeing. If you like your history and to see the Golden Buddha, that's great. And again, I've flown into Hong Kong many years ago and saw the Buddha, and that's different because you actually fly and you see the Buddha. It's massive. It's huge, and then you see the golf course. Actually, there's a golf course on the other side of the. Back then, there was a golf course on the other side, and when you fly into Hong Kong, and it had like huge towers of containers on either side of the airport too. Back in those days, so this is back in the 90s when I flew into Hong Kong. Yeah, saw the Golden Buddha and all the containers. And then the golf course, that was the extreme.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was hilarious. And very tight, and the plane just went right down interesting journey. Okay, so that was that day. It was an awesome experience. And then we got to do our final fun day, which was the next day. We went, I think that night, there's the Women's World Cup. So when we got back from that night, the Women's World Cup was playing in New Zealand.
No, it was the next night.
Was it the next night?
No, it was the next night.
Well, I was going to mention
I was already feeling...
Oh, was this after Dream? Was it?
Yeah, it was after Dream.
Okay.
I was already feeling crappy. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We went back to the Irish pub the next night, so I'll get this out of the way. And the English supporters, because they were in the final, had lost in the Women's World Cup, and I'm from New Zealand, so it was hosted in New Zealand, so it was an interesting thing to walk in. And they were emptying ours as we were walking in, so that was quite cool. Got to have my steak kidney pie again. And a lot of very happy supporters of I don't remember who won it. I can't remember who won it, but anyway,
I don't know.
soccer, football, yeah. So the English supporters were leaving in droves, unhappy and thoroughly drunk, and we got some good table food in there. So that was the end of the final day that was supposed to be there before we flew out. But the next day, we got up again, and we ended up going to this place, got picked up, and we went to Dream World, which was just like a a small version of Disneyland, nothing near the size.
Normal amusement park, nothing.
Probably aimed more at families and Filipino
it's
families.
Definitely more locals.
Yeah.
Thai families.
Not so many foreigners there, but what a lot of fun. Oh my gosh, that was a lot of fun. And so I did a video on that, and it just had a lot of fun things to do there.
A lot of pictures.
The girls just, ladies always want pictures, so it was a pictures thing. We had to do the pictures thing. I think we did the James and Mrs. Bond, and you did the Fred Flintstone and Wilma.
Yeah, Fred and Wilma.
Yeah, and that came out
all
right.
The King Kong.
Yeah. Oh, we did the King Kong. I did a weights thing, like a thing, and then there was a guy wrestling. Oh, the funniest thing was the skeletons when we came out of the haunted house.
Oh, they were playing cards.
And they're playing cards, So there's these three cool skeletons, all very well done. I'd never seen that in Disney. I've not seen that. I've travelled 30 countries. I've not seen anything like that. So the initiative in this park was actually really good. It's well laid out. It had places for you to do photos and videos and fun stuff with the kids all the way around it. From just a walking quietly perspective, there was stuff to do all the way around that wasn't hard. It was just there, toilets, eating, drinking, little nibbly places, and photos. So it was really well laid out around a lake, and then just different things happening all over the place. So from a layout perspective, it was really, really cool.
It definitely had more of a feel of like a lower tier park, not like a Disney, right?
No.
So it was good.
Not the same.
It was okay, but it was more like a Six Flags, or something like not quite up to the Disney feel. It just kind of had like a kind of a knockoff feel to it to me.
Yeah. But it was very clean, very organized. Staff were great, friendly, amazing. And when we got through, and they always do the thing where they do the photo at the end. So at some point, whatever you're doing, they'll get a photo of you and your partner doing something, and then they'll try to sell it to you for 200 baht on the way out. So get ready for that. If somebody approaches you with a camera, be ready for it. I wasn't in the thing. I had the same thing happen at the boat thing and at the Mekong market. They're everywhere, and they do the same sort of thing, a framed version of what.
They had a nice picture of us, but I think they had two separate pictures of you guys.
Yeah, because we weren't ready for it, and Madge was off doing
because you guys
filming,
were always separating to take pictures
and stuff. Or she was, whatever. So it just was. So I didn't worry about it. But anyway, be ready for that. And they were about 250 baht, so they're quite good. When we went in, the funniest thing for the day for me, I set Doug up on the video, and I did a short called The Big Splash. But before that, I knew that the best ride for us would have been because the girls hadn't done the roller coaster before, and that's at the end of the park. And it's the roller coaster when I saw it's very similar to the one in New Zealand, which is a small version of a theme park, but it has a small roller coaster. So we raced to get to that thing. We got up there, no queues, which was good. Got up there, and we did the ride, and the girls did the screamy thing, and it was all fun and blah blah blah. And then when I was up there, I looked over and I saw this thing called which was like a
like a log ride.
A log ride,
like a
version.
Splash.
But it was called the Splash. So I thought it was like a log flume where you went around, and that was what I was looking for. Anyway, we got off the ride from the roller coaster, which was fun, and went around a couple of minutes, and we found this thing called the Splash, and we got on it, and the girls all got covered over. And then while that was happening, we saw people, I could hear people screaming and getting soaked and coming around behind us, and I thought, oh, this is good for a setup. So we went up, and just one ride to go up and around, and then bang, and the impact you get halfway, right? So we got halfway.
Yeah, on the ride itself, you only get like, the top part of your body really wet, maybe a little bit of your shorts or whatever. but then we're going over a bridge that's over where it splashes down, and he tries to get the girls
On the second attempt.
So he stops.
Yeah.
He stops on this bridge that's a view
They
of the log
yeah.
splashing down.
Yeah.
And
Looking
so
back at the ride.
I'm following him.
So this was on the way out. So we'd already got out. We'd head out, half splash, and I was still semi-dry. And I was been in the front, and the girl there, everyone was all good. And then I thought, oh, I'm going to set them up. So I got to the front and waited at the bridge to hold them, and the girls were smart enough. And Doug was following up, and the girls snuck around.